You tell yourself, you're just putting something on in the background. But your hand already knows the route. Harry Potter again, Friends again, The Office again. Same intro music, same jokes, same scenes you could practically mouth in your sleep. And the weird part is how fast your body relaxes when that familiar frame appears. Your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, that buzzing under your ribs quiets down for a second. Meanwhile, the idea of starting some brand new prestige drama with 9 timelines, 6 morally gray strangers, and a fandom spreadsheet brings instant fatigue. Suddenly you need water. Suddenly you need to check your phone. Suddenly, episode 1 feels less like entertainment and more like an assignment. And people notice. Your partner gives you that look like, seriously, this again? The algorithm has stopped believing in you. Your kids are lobbying for anything made after 2012, but when the day has been loud, expensive, disappointing, and just random, in that very modern way, your nervous system does not want a surprise. It does not want a plot twist. That is why rewatching can feel almost embarrassingly good. You already know who leaves, who lies, who survives, who kisses, who says the line. No ambush, no emotional invoice, arriving out of nowhere. And this is the part nobody says out loud. When life feels unstable, your brain starts bargaining for tiny islands of certainty. A familiar episode becomes one of them. You already know who walks into the room, which joke lands, which song starts, who breaks up, who comes back, and most importantly, that the ending will not ambush you. No plot twist, no emotional mugging. That is why the urge gets strongest on the worst days. After the passive, aggressive boss email, after the argument where nobody technically yelled, but somehow you still feel punched in the ribs. After the lonely dinner eaten, standing up over the sink, new content asks something from you. It wants attention, interpretation, emotional risk. Familiar content asks almost nothing. You can even feel it in your body, if you're honest. Your jaw unclenches during scenes you've seen 10 times. Your breathing evens out when the opening theme starts. You stop bracing, because with something new, your mind has to work like a detective. Who is that? Can I trust them? Is that line important? Is this going to get darker? And maybe that stings a little, because it means the repeat isn't random. It is a clue. Sometimes, the reason you keep replaying the same story is that real life has become too expensive for your attention. Too many unknowns, too many people acting strange, too many endings with no clean resolution. And this is the part people rarely say out loud. You're not watching the same thing again. The file is the same. You aren't. That is why a movie can feel completely different at 12, 27, and 43. As a kid, you lock onto the adventure, the joke, the explosion, the kiss. Years later, the exact same scene hits a nerve you didn't even have back then. Suddenly, the parent in the story makes sense. The burnout character makes sense. That is why rewatching can feel so oddly personal. You're not just returning to a plot. You're meeting old versions of yourself in the dark. Like, oh, right, this was me, when I still believed that kind of apology meant something. This was me before that breakup, before the move, before the diagnosis, before I knew why that one line made my chest tighten. A familiar show becomes a little evidence locker of who you used to be. And then there is the social ghost inside all of it. Sometimes you're not pressing play on a series. You're stepping back into a couch indentation that doesn't exist anymore. Thursday nights with your sister, that roommate who quoted the same scene every December, the parent who always fell asleep 10 minutes in, but insisted they were still watching. These stories get fused to people. Apartments, smells, cheap takeout containers, old blankets, the sound of keys in the door, which is why it can feel comforting and heartbreaking at the same time. You're not weird for needing that. You're not failing to move on. Because you want one story that still knows how to hold you, and that map is bigger than plot. Sometimes, The episode is carrying a person. The parent who first played Groundhog Day on a rainy afternoon. The friend who quoted every line with you before they moved away. Even the ex attached to a film you should never touch again. Except now, hitting play feels like reclaiming the object instead of surrendering it. The story becomes a storage unit for attachment. Then decision fatigue piles on top of that. After thousands of choices in a day, pick something new is not a cute suggestion. It is one more demand, one more tab open in a brain already overheating. So when you choose the movie, where you already know, the hallway, the soundtrack, the exact line that lands like a punch to the chest, that is not irrational. It is energy conservation. And for a lot of people, it goes even deeper than convenience. Rewatching becomes a self-soothing ritual. Same opening scene, same laugh cue, same resolution, same exhale. In a world that keeps changing the rules mid-game, a familiar story is one place where the floor doesn't move. If rewatching is one of the few things that brings your nervous system down, from sirens to a steady hum, then treat it like you would any other form of regulation. Not as a guilty little habit, as a boundary. That means you do not hand other people the authority to label it pathetic, childish, lazy, or proof that you can't deal with reality. They are not inside your body when your chest is tight. Your thoughts are static, and one familiar opening theme is the only thing that makes your shoulders drop an inch. So build a protocol around it. First, name the function, honestly. Don't say I'm wasting time. Say I'm stabilizing. Don't say I'm hiding. Say I'm choosing predictability on purpose. That small language shift matters, because shame is how other people colonize your coping. The moment you describe your own relief like a moral failure, you've already surrendered the steering wheel. Second, make it conscious. Pick the show, the movie, the audiobook. Instead of drifting into it like you're sneaking sugar at 2 a.m., put the blanket on, dim the lamp, let the same joke land, let the same scene crack your heart open in the same safe place. That is not mindless. That is controlled exposure to something your system trusts. Familiar dialogue, known endings, zero ambush. For a brain tired of scanning for impact, that is relief with structure. Third, defend the border. If someone mocks you for watching the same thing again, do not over-explain, like you're presenting a legal defense in a courtroom. A simple, "This helps me reset," is enough. Or if we're being honest, "Mind your business" is also clinically elegant. Boundaries are not made of perfect wording. They're made of repetition. The same answer, the same refusal, the same closed door. And one more thing, don't let comfort become confiscation. If a familiar story restores you, use it as a base camp, not a prison. Return to it, recover in it. Let it remind you who you are. When the world gets noisy, that is not weakness. That is you keeping custody of your own mind. So I'm curious, what is the one thing you return to when life gets too loud? So no, this isn't a pathetic little nostalgia prison. It is you recognizing what settles your system and choosing it on purpose. That matters in a culture that treats every preference like a flaw to optimize away. Keeping one familiar story on standby is a small act of self-possession. And maybe that is the real point. Not to live in the past, but to know what brings you back to yourself when life gets noisy. So, I want to ask you, what is the one thing you return to when the world gets too loud?